Hi everybody, hope you're well. It's my 30th video tip today, so I thought I'd be a little bit controversial and just say let's forget the law. And don't get me wrong, I don't mean completely forget the law, but I just think sometimes we focus on the wrong things and we focus on the law rather than the actual people involved. If I give an example of when in my career we've never had to focus on parts of the law, a lot of you will know that I spent 10 years at Rolls-Royce, and you can imagine that Rolls-Royce terms and conditions are fairly favourable, and therefore minimum wage legislation was never an issue for us because we paid above the minimum wage, and therefore we didn't need to worry about minimum wage laws. But it's still a law that's there. And I just see laws as a minimum standard. It's a minimum requirement that legislation requires us to do. If you operate above that level, you don't need to worry about the law. And an example I see in a lot of organisations is disability discrimination laws and reasonable adjustments. And what companies do is they focus on what the law says, i.e. that you need to make reasonable adjustments, and this is how disabled employees are categorised. And they almost look at the law first and then decide whether they are classed as disabled, to then enable their decision to decide whether they're going to make reasonable adjustments or not. And that just doesn't compute with me. I don't understand why the law would be the first thing that we look at. I would look at the employee and forget whether they're classed as disabled under legislation or not. It's an employee. They've got a challenge, they've got an issue, and they're asking whether we can adjust their job to make their life easier. And if the answer is yes, we should do it. If the answer is no, we should talk to them and explore what else we can do so that we can make their life easier. Whether they're classed as disabled or not, for me, is irrelevant at that stage. And if you apply that same principle to every employee, you're operating above the minimum standards that the law drives that says don't discriminate against disabled employees. So if you've got an employee, just keep sticking with that example, who comes to you and says, I need for this reason an adjustment to my job, whether it's a physical issue or something that's helping them with their mental health or anything, look into it and see if you can be reasonable and make their life better. And if you can, just do it. Chances are, if it's going to cost £100 to do that, chances are most companies will be able to do that. If it's going to cost £1 million, the chances are the answer will be no. And then there's a sliding scale in between, and it's all about leadership. It's all about making discretionary decisions as a manager, and every people issue is different, and therefore being pragmatic about how you approach that and the decisions that you make are down to you as a manager. And sometimes people need help with that and that decision making. I know it's tough, I know it's hard, but I just think don't be driven by what legislation says. Be driven by what employees need, the situation you're presented with, and explain why the answer is no. If the answer is no, that's okay, but explore what else you can do to help the employee. So I hope that helps. I hope it's not too controversial. If you need any help in those types of decisions as leaders, etc., then as ever, give us a call. In the meantime, have a great day. See you soon.